over to you.
Right, my presentation was all about compression and more targeting inside of like sidechain compression. So compression obviously controlling the peaks and dynamics that occur while you're mixing and mastering kind of thing. Any instrument really can be compressed. It's always squishes the louder peaks depending on how well you set it, and it boosts the lower part to compress it into like a nice sounding wave. Gives the instruments an extra kind of punch in the mix. So obviously, if you wanted a kick drum that's really wanting to go through, then you want a good compressor. The first compressor actually wasn't created on purpose, oddly enough. It was a result of limitation of magnetic tape recordings, which they recorded at a high level, resulting in tape saturation, which limited the dynamic range. They're the first two original compressors. I only had 5 buttons, which were gain reduction, compress limit, gain, and peak reduction, and then obviously a power button. While compressors like up to in 2013 have like 16 buttons, can have EQ on them, and just different kind of a range of them. Some of the first compressors we used in the radio side of the industry, like when the DJ was playing a song, he obviously wanted to talk, it ducked, so it caused obviously a ducking effect there to help speak obviously, and then they used it to boost frequencies in the radio station, so like if you tween the dial, like they stood out more than others, so without peaking, so it caused people like, oh, that's a good song, I hear that, turn it on. Obviously, to boost it enough not to distort such a flaw. Compression works by taking the highest waveform and squashing it down. It brings it into line with the quieter parts of the waveform. So I've got an example of the work. This is not compressed. And then one that is compressed. So, obviously, example there, I over compressed them drums then, just to give it an example. Obviously, a lot louder, a lot more punchier, and it works well. But obviously, compressing too much can cause distortion, and it could just ruin the mix. Controls that help to decide what part of the waveform you want to affect, so obviously you can decide what kind of frequency, what threshold, where the gain output, and all this stuff like that. So you've got different kind of compressors, like the multi-band compressor, where it can control like the next stage of it, where you can alter certain frequencies, like the lower mids, the higher mids, so the high peaks, and then the low bass range. It's capable of fine-tuning it all within the present range of what music is at the moment. It's normally transparent, and it's normally used in the mastering stages of tracks in the industry. So the big debate, hardware versus software. Obviously some people prefer the hardware, obviously some people prefer soft. Hardware usually outboard and patched into consoles, obviously gives it more of a unique feel. If you've got the unique compressor in the studio, obviously not everyone has it, it gives it the unique feel and it gives it a bit of a warmer touch. Software added normally during the mix and master stage. I prefer software personally. I'm not sure why I've not really used many hardware output, but I just feel like you can tweak it really nice. Personal opinion, so. But many professionals still have analog outboard compressors, again for the unique colour feel kind of thing, and a lot argue that digital compressors still haven't reached the peak of what hardware can, but they're getting close obviously because digital is always improving compared to hardware, which is slowing down a lot more. Sidechain compression, so me personally I use it on a kick drum and my bass line. So basically a ducking effect, so when your bass kicks in, your bass line ducks and it creates movement. David Guetta, Daft Punk kind of standards. Obviously, dubstep I think use it a little bit. But for kind of sound on sound, I found it on there today. Every beat, and then simplifying, it's just your one audio, just doing compression on the other one, so it moves down. History of sidechain, I found one, I couldn't find much of it. I found someone called Douglas Shearer developed it in the 1930s for reducing costs for movies. Obviously, I'm not sure, I think because obviously the piano thing used to have, and it was a weird effect they used to cause it. Radio stations still use the sidechain effect now in the 21st century. Obviously, I've gone over that. Who uses it? It's a widely produced technique. Most popular genre, obviously, French house, David Guetta, Daft Punk. It's helped create the genre grow in popularity and progress into the ones in the charts. And obviously, it's more than just it's all underground. Obviously, David Guetta before he was well known for his commercial stuff, used it. And now a lot of producers, I know personally, all love to use sidechain. Like I say, I use it for compression. I use the sidechain for my bassline and kick. Normal compression is stuff like Logic for mixing and mastering. I use the multi-pass and compressor, and cause a bit like I put the compressor on and overly compress it, and then use another compressor just to ease it off. So it's got that movement, it's got a bit of punch with it, but not too much. And obviously the multi-pass to just peak everything. Examples of sidechaining in Reason, all the wiring. Obviously you can see the sidechain on the compressor going inside there into the Spidey audio with the kick, and then going out into the output. It causes a really nice effect, which I think will come fast. Yeah, sorry. I've also done this. So that is the ducking effect of the bassline with the kick, and examples in Logic. It's attached to the, I've got my mouse here, vocal there. So with the kick it moves with the vocal to cause a really nice vocal effect, I find. And what references there? Any questions? All good?
You were saying about series compression processing, like using, sorry, like I kind of missed it a little bit when you had the, say, one compressor, like kind of crushing it, and the other one to then bring it out again.
Yeah.
Can you go into like more detail about that?
Yeah, obviously, I got taught this technique at college, like by my producer slash lecturer. He always used to like overly compress it by putting the threshold right down and just fully get it so it's compressed. It sounded terrible, and then he put another compressor on to turn the attack down, release up, and I don't know, it caused a really weird effect, but it just managed to work, and it made it really powerful while giving it that real like movement as well. It was a good effect, and since then I feel like my mastering has got a lot better because of that effect as well. But you put one on like the actual channel and one on the master, so the only compress one on the actual stem of your track and the other on the master track. It just twos and throws, it just goes quite well. Cool. Anything else?